Hi everyone, welcome back to Abby's Star Wars Story. Today we're going to be talking about my top 10 strongest Jedi. These are all in my personal opinion, but of course I would love to hear what you guys have to say down in the comments. So please feel free to let me know. So let's go and jump right into this. At number 10 we have Qui-Gon Jinn. I loved watching Qui-Gon Jinn. I thought it was really cool. Especially like in the Phantom Menace. It was so cool, the fight scenes that they had with Maul. And like just watching him through the entire Phantom Menace, and every single time I watch the Phantom Menace, I'm like, oh my word, please don't die, like just don't do it. And then I like know deep down that he is going to, and I'm just like, why? Because I really enjoyed Qui-Gon Jinn. He's a strong fighter. He brought Anakin to the Jedi Temple, which I kind of wish he didn't, because we all saw how that ended. You start in the Jedi Temple, you end in the Jedi Temple. Or you end the Jedi Temple, I guess is what I should say. But I'm still like, why did you die? Because I don't like it. I hate watching him die. It's always like, why? I don't want you to die. But he is number 10. He is a very strong Jedi, and I loved watching him in The Phantom Menace. In number 9, we have Yoda. I feel like Yoda was a really strong and fun. Like, Yoda is a really strong Jedi, as we saw. He taught Luke I know that Obi-Wan taught him in the ways of the Force as well, but he taught him how to harness it and become stronger in the Force, as we saw. And that was really cool. His death always... It's sad. It's cool, though, seeing him in a Force Ghost. I think my favorite version of Yoda is probably Rebels, Clone Wars, or 2D animated series. But let me know what your guys' favorite version of Yoda is, because there's quite a bit. But those are my top 3 favorite versions of Yoda. I think they all look phenomenal. But yeah, I really enjoyed watching Yoda fight. Palpatine especially. I feel like that fight scene was awesome. Some of the coolest ones that we've got. In number 8, we have Obi-Wan. I, again, really enjoyed watching Obi-Wan in The Phantom Menace. I enjoyed his humor in The Phantom Menace. I enjoyed watching him in the Clone Wars as Anakin had his own Padawan, but Obi-Wan still helped him. Obi-Wan still helped him understand some things that he quite wasn't understanding. I thought it was really cool. I liked watching them work together throughout the movies. Like in episode 2, it was really cool watching him be like, we are on guard, Anakin. We are not here to do anything else. We are here to guard her. That is it. And then he's like, I hate it when he does that. After Anakin jumps out of the, what is it called? The hover card thing. That ship. And he jumps out. He's like, I hate it when he does that. And then flies after him because Anakin jumped out to go get the bounty hunter that tried to get rid of Padme. And I can't say the word for what he was trying to do because YouTube would not like that. In number 7, we have Yaddle. I really enjoy Yaddle, and I have a whole video about her, mainly because she's caring for what she stands for. She cares for the Council. She was on the Council, but she also cared for the people. She also cared for the people. With Dooku, she gave him a chance, as we saw in Tales of the Jedi. She gave him a chance. She was like, if you come with us, I can help you. I can help. Your charges can be dropped. Just admit to them what you've done and help us stop it. Of course, that doesn't work, and she ends up passing away, but it still was cool. Her standing up for the Council as well, being like, they're just trying to do what's best. And it was like, and another thing is the head of hair. That's another reason why I like Yaddle. And I know this has nothing to do with her being really strong, but that head of hair is just insane, where we have Yoda and Grogu who have nothing, and then there's Yaddle who has a whole head of hair. But yeah, she is a very strong Jedi, very compassionate, very caring, and believes in what she stands for what she believes. In number 6, we have Anakin, who we know is the strongest Jedi based on his midichlorian count, or was the strongest Jedi based on his midichlorian count. That we saw get taken in The Phantom Menace. I thought it was really cool, again, watching him train and grow with Ahsoka, and then watching as that hurt as Ahsoka left. And then watching him think that, hey, by turning to the dark side, it'll save my wife. Like, dude, no, it won't. So that's why I refer to him as was the strongest Jedi, technically, like, by his midichlorian count, was, simply because he left the Order. So I just consider it as was. And then I loved watching him do the Worlds Between Worlds in the Ahsoka series. That was awesome. I think we can all agree that I loved watching them go back to the fight of Mandalore, or the Siege of Mandalore, and Ahsoka was like, at this point, we were gone. We were separated from each other. And then they have that final test, and he has that flashback, and he has that, like, flashbacks between Anakin and Darth Vader. And I thought that scene was epic. Like, that was awesome. In number 5, we have Ahsoka. I, again, loved watching her train, loved watching her grow in the Force. Like, watching her get accused was insane, and then watching her leave the Order, realizing that the Order didn't care, really, for her. They offered her to come back, but that was after they had already accused her of something she didn't do, after her telling them multiple times that she didn't do it, and they had watched her train. And so she felt betrayed, as of most people probably would. But it was cool to watching her come back and fight, fight in the Siege of Mandalore. I think we can all agree that the coolest fight scene ever, now this is my opinion, was between her and Maul. That was awesome. I loved watching that fight scene. And then, of course, I loved watching her battle Darth Vader in Rebels at the Sith Temple. That was awesome. And then, of course, she got a whole series to herself. That was awesome. Like, there's just, like, so many things that were so cool about Ahsoka. And I am excited for Ahsoka Season 2 whenever they decide to announce when that's coming out, because I don't know. I don't think no one else knows, except for the producers. So I'm really hoping that we get that soon. In number 4, we have Kanan. Kanan is a very strong Jedi. He's a very strong-willed Jedi. As we saw in Rebels, he refused to give up anything about the Ghost Crew. He refused to say anything. And even whenever the Grand Inquisitor got into his head, he still didn't say anything. Then they took him to the Mustafar system. Like, okay. And as soon as Hera heard that, she's like, that's where Jedi go to die. And so it was, like, insane. Yeah. And then watching him in The Bad Batch was really cool. That was, like, Kanan as a kid was really fun to see. He's like, watching you guys was the fun. And then, you know, watching him be like, get back. And then seeing that Force jump was awesome. Watching him escape. Even though Hunter was trying to help, Crosshair wasn't. And we all understood why. Like, we all understood why because of the Clone Wars. So, yeah. And then in my number 3 spot, we have Ki-Adi-Mundi. I really enjoyed Ki-Adi-Mundi, as, like, whenever we saw him here and there in the Clone Wars, we saw that he was a very strong Jedi. He was very knowledgeable in the ways of the Force. He was really fun. And then, of course, his demise wasn't, like, it was sad, like all the other deaths, okay? Watching the clones turn on him. Again, it was super sad. But yeah, Ki-Adi-Mundi is a very strong Jedi, as we know, and it was cool watching him throughout the Clone Wars, watching him use the Force, watching him fight side by side with the clones until they turned their backs on him. That was awesome. And then in my number 2 spot, we have Count Dooku. Count Dooku was a really cool Jedi and was a really strong Sith Force wielder. But yeah, I say was to both because as we saw how his demise went, do it. But it was like crazy as watching him in Tales of the Jedi, watching him be very strong in the Force. And whenever he was given that opportunity to either get rid of Yaddle or turn, we saw that he got rid of Yaddle. He destroyed a council member. Like, he was very strong, and he knew what he was doing. Asajj Ventress was his people up until he decided to try to get rid of her. And then, of course, we saw Saz come back in the Bad Batch, which was awesome. Okay, in my number 1 spot, we have Venestra Rowe. We saw her in action through The Acolyte. I did not read the books, but watching her in The Acolyte was really cool. She is a very strong Jedi. That lightsaber whip was awesome. I loved getting to see her do what she thought was right for the council. But the one thing I was like, okay, whenever she was like, it was one man and one man alone, I'm like, you liar. It was not one man. All because she wanted to keep the council from getting investigated. That was the whole thing. Whenever she found out that the council might go under investigation, she made up this whole big lie. And I'm not going to be talking about the Acolyte, but it's kind of like the lie continued. How Andara said, we're going to lie to Osha, her life has already been ruined enough. So now Venestra Rowe is just keeping that lie going, but instead blaming it on Sol for all of this. Because Sol was the one that wanted to tell the truth, and now he's getting blamed for everything. Wow, what a gal, Venestra Rowe. But of course, she didn't want the council to be investigated, but she is a very strong Jedi. That was awesome to see. But of course, you know, there's always going to be some sort of corruption in the council. And it was really surprising seeing it that far back. But yeah, that's all I have to say. That's my top 10 strongest Jedi. I hope everyone has a fantastic day. Please leave your top 10 strongest Jedi in the comments. And as always, God bless. Bye, guys.